Hello everyone, it's Joe here from Draft FPL and welcome back to a weekly series helping you find some good value free agents and waiver pickups in Draft FPL. Hope you all had a good Christmas. The festive fun continues with plenty of fixtures coming up. We're looking now at game week 20. There's another waiver deadline coming tomorrow, so let's not waste any time and get straight into the picks. First up, we've got Alex Moreno available in 57% of Draft FPL leagues, and that information, as always, is powered by draftfc.co.uk. If you want to get a free month, you can sign up using the code SNAKEDRAFT, link down below in the description. Very useful tool for draft. I could not recommend it more. I myself use it to make these videos, so that goes to show just how useful it is. Looking at Alex Moreno specifically, game week 20 this week, Burnley at home. It's a fantastic fixture. Villa have got a really strong run over the next four. Burnley at home, Everton away, Newcastle at home, Sheffield United away. Really, really good fixtures. The only real tough fixture in there is Newcastle at home, but they're on a pretty terrible run of form, if we're being honest, and Everton away is actually probably sneaky the hardest fixture in that, looking at the data, but you would still fancy Villa to do well. Luca Dean pulled up with a hamstring injury after Moreno lost his place last game week, so even though he did go out of the side, I would fully expect him to come back in now after that hamstring injury to Luca Dean, so I don't think his place is really in much doubt unless they change the system, but I don't really see why they do that because Moreno has actually played quite well when he's played over the last few game weeks. Next up, we've got Nathaniel Klein available in 100% of leagues. Palace have got Brentford at home this week, then it's Arsenal away in 21, then Sheffield United at home in 22, Brighton away in 23. So really you want him for this week and for game week 22. That Sheffield United at home, Brentford at home double up is quite appealing. There is a chance that Joel Ward comes back from injury, but we haven't really heard anything. I really don't think he'll be back for game week 20 just because it's such a quick turnaround. Obviously that game week 22 fixture is actually quite a few weeks away. I think that's about 3 weeks away. So there is a chance he could be back in for that, in which case Klein will probably lose his place, I would think, although he played quite well against Chelsea, I thought. So we'll have to wait and see on that. But the good thing is you can bring him in for Brentford. If Ward is back fit for the Arsenal game, you can see which one of them starts in that. Then bring that player in for the Sheffield United game in game week 22. But as I said, for this week, I seriously doubt that Ward's going to be back. So available in 100% of leagues. The fixtures this week are tough from a defensive point of view. So someone that's available in 100% of leagues is a pretty good pickup, I think. Next up, Malo Gusto. I tipped him a few weeks ago. Available in 47% of leagues. I think he's the best defensive asset at Chelsea at the moment. The team look night and day when he plays at right back. I think the team plays so much better when he plays, and you've got to think that Pochettino sees that as well. He's got the assist against Palace, didn't keep the clean sheet, but this run of fixtures continues to be really strong. Luton away this week, Fulham at home next week, Wolves at home in game week 23. You'd happily start Gusto in all those games. I expect him to start all of them. You never really know with this Chelsea team at the moment. It's a bit of a lottery, but if I had to put money on it, I would predict that Gusto starts. Still available in 47% of leagues. Reece James is nowhere near coming back. Good pick. That's all I've got for defenders, but I've got loads of mids. So moving on, I know I spoke about Elise like 5 times recently, but he's still available in 40% of draft leagues, which is baffling because he's such a good pick. Scored a brilliant goal yesterday, and I just think there's no reason for him to be free in your league. The fixtures are pretty good coming up, so just absolute no-brainer. Must pick up if he is free. Kind of similar with Mudryk. I know, again, I spoke about him recently. Available in 44% of leagues still. He scored again this week, and the fixtures coming up are still very good, as I just spoke about with Gusto. Luton away, Fulham at home, Liverpool away is tough, then Wolves at home after that. Such a good run. I don't see him going out the side now. I think he's kind of too important to how they're playing. He's pretty much the only attacking player that's in like a decent run of form at the moment. So I don't think he's going to drop out the team. Good pick, good player, available in 44% of leagues. There are very few teams that have a midfielder they can't drop for Mudryk. Next up, real quick, Diogo Jota came back from his spell of being injured. Played, came off the bench, scored, available in 27% of leagues, so a quarter of leagues have a potential like second or third round pick free. He is fit. Liverpool have got Salah going to AFCON, could be 2 weeks, could be 5 weeks he's gone. Jota's surely going to get quite a lot of minutes in that period. The fixtures aren't amazing, but you would think he's almost guaranteed to start that Bournemouth away game in game week 21. And beyond that, if he plays well in that, which you would expect Liverpool to win that game considering the form of the team, I think that there's a decent chance he keeps his place for a little while longer. And even if he doesn't, Jota's so clinical that I think getting 25-30 minutes every week is actually enough for him to still be a decent pick in FPL. A little bit more of a rogue Liverpool shout is Harvey Elliott. Available in 99% of leagues. He's actually in pretty good form at the moment. Been playing really well. I've been quite impressed with him. He's often been playing on the right when Salah's gone through the middle, so I expect him to probably start on the right for the most part over the next few weeks. Newcastle at home, Bournemouth away, Chelsea at home, the next 3 don't look amazing on paper, but actually the 2 that are more tricky, the Newcastle and Chelsea games, have both been struggling defensively, so I would expect goals in both of those games. I think the Bournemouth away game might actually be the trickiest of those 3. Bournemouth are in amazing form, their defence is really good, but I do think that Liverpool will still score in that game, and Harvey Elliott, if he's playing in a front 3, is a really good pick. Next up is Brennan Johnson, available in 35% of leagues still. Bournemouth at home this week, then United away, Brentford at home, Everton away. Really good fixtures for Spurs. Son leaves for the Asia Cup soon, and Johnson still available in 35% of leagues. Can't get my head around it. I've gone through a few mids quite quickly this week, just players that I think just shouldn't be free. Like, these are players that surely are going to be all wavered in this week. They're all good picks. Johnson especially, I think, is potentially a season keeper. Really good player, clinical finisher, and someone that I think, with the amount of chances that Spurs create, especially once Maddison's back, which shouldn't be too many more game weeks. Even if it's the end of January, that's probably only, I think, like game week 23. So definitely, improvements to come for Spurs in the near term, and I think Brennan is someone I'd be thinking is probably going to profit from that. Finally, someone that is a little bit more widely available is Garnacho, available in 70% of leagues. Got the brace against Villa and is probably the only United player in the entire squad that I would class as like in form. And actually the data is really good as well. It's not just that he's been scoring worldy overhead kicks that isn't repeatable. He is actually in the box quite a lot, taking shots. The data for United is absolutely terrible. I think they're like the 18th worst defence in the league. The defence is something I would not even go anywhere near under any circumstances. But the attack is like kind of bad, but the fixtures have been pretty rough and they do kind of get better going forward. Forest away this week is not bad. Tottenham at home is pretty good considering Tottenham's defensive record. Then Wolves away is like okay. West Ham at home is pretty good. Like, they're all fixtures you'd expect United to score a goal or 2 in. And Garnacho at the moment is pretty much the only player that actually looks capable of scoring goals. I'd be very surprised if he drops out the team with the run of form he's on at the moment. So, judging by that, I think he is actually a pretty good pick. On to forwards then. First up, Chris Wood, available in 47% of leagues. I tipped him in my last video, so apologies. You may have already picked him up and got that hat-trick in game week 19. But I'm going to just shout him out again. I don't think Awanai is anywhere close to fitness. I think Wood really suits the style of play that Nuno is going to be going for. With these fixtures, it's tough. It's not. I try and avoid like okay picks with just okay fixtures. Normally, I think you want great picks regardless of the fixtures, or you want players that have really good fixtures coming up. Forest fixtures are okay, they're not brilliant. United at home is not bad, their defence is terrible. Brentford away is okay, Arsenal at home is bad, Bournemouth away is quite rough. I think Bournemouth are actually a pretty good side. So, do you know what I mean? The fixtures don't scream go out and buy him, but he's probably, this might be controversial, he's probably like one of the top 15 forwards in the game. So the fact that he's available in almost half the leagues just isn't right. I know that when Awanai is back and he's got some proper competition, that conversation will change drastically, but there's kind of no sign of that on the horizon as far as I'm aware. Finally, Mateta, again, another forward that I tipped recently, but I'm getting really frustrated with the lack of clarity over Edouard's situation with his injury. I own him in a couple of leagues and I'd like to drop him if he's going to be out long term, but for some reason the journalists in the press conferences seem to refuse to ask Roy Hodgson if he's fit or not, or what the actual problem is. All we know is it's a knee injury and he's injured. He could be back this week, he could be back next season, we really don't know, and it's really annoying. I tweeted about it earlier. I've asked people that kind of are in the know about injuries and no one seems to know. It's really annoying. As it stands at the moment, Mateta is playing and he's playing quite well, so I don't expect that to change in the near term. This Brentford fixture I do think is pretty good. Brentford have been seriously ropey lately with their own injury problems. So I think there's probably goals in this for Palace. The Elise-Eze combination is finally back, and I think that is a massive boon for Palace. I think they're a significantly better attacking side when those two are in the team. Okay, that wraps up my picks for Game Week 20. As always, if you enjoy the video, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Thank you all for watching. There's a link to the Patreon down below if you're interested in even more information from me. I'm going soon to do an updated ranking list for the Patreon members. I think that'll probably be over the winter break, so that's about 2 weeks time. I might do it over the FA Cup third round weekend, which is in about 10 days. But it'll be in one of those two periods, so make sure you're on the Patreon to make the most of that. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you next time.